Hello there, friends! We've come to the end of the year's season on the Tier 1 scene, and now it's time for us to be introduced to some reshuffles, rumors, changes in teams and tournaments. Who will become the new AWPer for NIP? Where will Interz go? Would there be roster changes in Navi? In general, there's just huge amount of information pouring on us lately, so let's put it all together in one video and discuss it. Let's get straight to it. And we'll probably start with one of the main news. NIP announced lineup changes. AWPer's team decided to move Astralis to the bench, and that change came out of the blue, to put it mildly. After the failure at the major, they performed very well at the next blast. They should have reached the final if they had not given their own nuke, where they lost to FaZe, leading with a score of 14-7. It seemed that this was quite an excellent result. The team was one step away from succeeding, but apparently they came to the conclusion that it would be nice to have a primary AWPer in the composition at last. Raz is pretty good, but he's sure better with rifling duties. Here's what Overdrive thinks about it.
Жаль, не могу вам сказать, кто в НИП придет, но это будет прям шок-контент. Вы этого снайпера очень хорошо знаете.
And everyone immediately began to wonder who could it be. The list went on. People were suggesting Hades, who just recently became a free agent, Man2, there were even speculations about Deco. But just imagine if NIP bought Device out of Astralis again. But in fact, everything is much more interesting. The most attentive followers of NIP players noticed that the whole team started following HEADTR1CK, and he in turn subscribed to them on Twitter. That was a slight hint. And after that, first, this transfer was acknowledged by a deserter journalist, and this is a very authoritative publication. And finally, a whole article was published on HLTV, which also confirmed these rumors. In addition, they say that the decision has already been made, and the move only hinges on the finalization of the transfer. There were other candidates, such as Regali, for example, but apparently HEADTR1CK was the best fit. How do you like the replacement? Isn't it too much responsibility for the youngster? Is he ready to break into the Tier 1 CS scene straight off and take place not even as a stand-in in Navi, but already to become a full-fledged AWPer of a powerful team that wants trophies? Write your opinion in the comments below, it will be interesting to read. I personally find it difficult to answer, but at least it would be quite a show and people will be definitely discussing it. Another question is what will happen to Astralis. Of course, we've heard the talk about bringing him back to Astralis here and there. At the end, it was this club that gave his career a chance to take a new direction. But all these arguments were finished by Astralis themselves. They announced their new player. The deal has been struck for Buzz from Masonic. We already talked about that player in the last video. Honestly, I have no idea how good he is, but as knowledgeable people say, he plays pretty decently on the Tier 2 scene. We will see how he will show himself in Astralis, but the main thing for him is not to ruin his career with this transition. You know, as it happened to Boombl4’s and Jugi earlier on. The Danes also introduced a new coach. Well, actually, it would be wrong to call him that, because it's the same castle, but now he's not an interim coach, but a head one. However, in case you missed it, he has been banned by Valve for using a coaching bag, and that ban will last another 2 majors. But it is what it is. Astralis has some kind of special obsession with banned coaches. There were also changes in Flusha's team. Zor has joined the active lineup. Yeah, the same guy who used to play for Fnatic. Also, the reshuffles were held in Sprout. According to Overdrive, they signed Xelo in place of Slacks. I agree, these are not the brightest signings, but I can't ignore them. As well as I couldn't ignore the fact that Gade announced his retirement from CSGO, and it turned out that the stint with BIG was his last, and he only managed to perform for half a year. In his Twitter, he said that in the new year he would start his career in a completely new environment. Oh my god, apparently he hinted at Valorant. And now we're closing the Reshuffles digest with 2 rumors about the futures of Interz and Boombl4’s. But before starting, this info is not official and comes rather from inside sources. There are rumors that Interz may end up in Force. Furthermore, OneWin plans to hold several reshuffles at once, and Lollipop has already left the team. So we're waiting for some more info in the nearest future. And everyone has been talking about Boombl4’s for a long time now, and it seems like he's decided on his future. Recently, the popular Russian language streamer Fander said that at the end of the December or in early January there will be an announcement of his new lineup. Boombl4’s personally told him about this. According to various sources, this is most likely to be a new Bad Boom team. As you can see, the guys are all in about esports. They have assembled a stellar roster in Dota. Now they're apparently planning to do the same thing in CSGO and build a composition around Boombl4’s. This is an ideal option if you ask me. And now I have some very useful info for you guys. Many of you might still buy games for full price on Steam Market and play CSGO without Prime, meeting cheaters in every match. And I found a solution for you. Zelenka Guru Market. Here you can find certified Steam accounts with purchased games or Prime. It's a huge marketplace, where efficiency and fairness are verified. So you can buy whatever you want with no worries and enjoy. You can trust them. They have reviews, ratings, and even a 12-hour warranty, in case anything happens with your newly acquired account. Regardless if it's EGS, Steam, or any other. The support will answer you ASAP and will return your money if anything happens. There's also a forum where you can participate in games giveaways, discuss any sorts of questions, or simply find like-minded people. You can read reviews, learn people's opinion, and ask which VPN is the best right now. That is, learn anything you want here. Just follow the link in the description and save your own money. Thanks for watching the ad, and let's continue. Recently, many have been talking about the fact that Perfecto has changed his flag on Liquipedia. Instead of the Russian one, he will play under a neutral flag. As one of the Liquipedia employees stated, Perfecto himself contacted them and requested to change the flag, as he chose not to represent Russia, and they quickly fulfilled the request. Electronic did not send them such a request at that time, and now apparently he had asked them to do so too, because the day before yesterday Electronic's profile has undergone the same change. Now Electronic and Perfecto both will play under a neutral flag, as well as all the Russians in all Navi compositions. So it seems like we shouldn't be expecting any replacements. It is still unknown whether the players themselves took this step or if it was Navi's call, and we probably won't find out soon. The community had different reactions to this news. Some took it pretty positively and some of the fans didn't. Write what you think about it in the comments below. Well, in general, Navi couldn't make another replacement, especially if we're talking about the captain. This was told by Navi's host, Tonya, in an interview. I know the position of the guys from Russia and I personally talked to them about it. I am satisfied with it in both cases with Dota and CSGO players. I know the position of our guys. It was extremely important for me to get to know it. If we broke up this composition and kicked all the Russians, it would have had a very strong impact on all Ukrainians working for Navi, who had been sitting in basements and providing for their families. We don't think black and white. A person who is unable to find a compromise is not a wise person. And closing this topic, I will mention the former CEO of G2, Carlos, who spoke about the scandalous photo of G2 with fans. Yeah, how about we stop holding people to extreme standards and expect them to be 100% educated on 100% of the multi-layered issues going on in the world, and let them do their jobs instead. What are they gonna do? Fight the fans? He immediately got his portion of criticism in the comments, while someone on the contrary supported him. In general, there was a typical Twitter battle in the comments. Nothing new here. Let's move on to the next thing, and we have some more news about Navi. More precisely, about Simple. It turned out that he was again the slowest AWPer in the last blast. This is already some kind of unhealthy tendency. At 2 tournaments in a row, Simple was the worst based on this indicator. The fastest sniper was Jame. Well, in general, everything else is fine with Simple's stats, at least compared to other players. He became the best rated in defense, 1.34, just like Exile. And according to the overall rating for the year at big events, he also shares a place with a player from Cloud9. Only now it's Shiro with a rating of 1.25, while Zyvu's rating is 1.24. So it turns out that Simple practically guaranteed himself the title of the top 1 in the world, but maybe the guys from HLTV have a completely different opinion. And since we remembered about Blast, a small scandal broke out in Denmark about them holding tournaments in Abu Dhabi. In case you don't know, the Danish government owns 25% of Blast through a state-owned investment fund. The relationship between the tournament organizer Abu Dhabi Gaming and the Danish government is causing rage among the fans. In particular, community representatives have raised serious concerns about the government's partial ownership of Blast and how Danish taxpayer funds ended up being used to help the authoritarian regime. It's one thing when private companies invest in Abu Dhabi and similar dictatorial countries, but Danish taxpayers should not contribute to this. I want to discuss with the minister if this is appropriate for the state fund, which is entrusted government with social responsibility to directly or indirectly invest in this princely dictatorship. And just like that, before the best major in history, Blast may start having problems with their main investor. Let's see how it all ends. And since we're talking about the tournament operators, there is more news from ESL. They decided to increase the number of teams at the EPL from 24 to 32. That is, now there will be not 6 teams in the first group, but 8. And the format itself will be changed a lot. Previously, everyone played with everyone in the group, and then the points determined the places in the playoffs. Now they decided to try Blast's format. That is, the matches will be played in a double elimination format with one last chance. Finally, the top 4 teams from each group will advance to the playoffs, where they will play in a single elimination format. In general, we will get closer to the point when the ESL Pro League starts, and it will be at the end of February. Valve has also made their own changes. As you remember, they recently changed the rules of RMR tournaments, and now everything has become a little clearer. Now we have closed and open qualifier stages. To get into closed qualifiers, the team needs to get direct invites, and Valve explained how they created the rating. The key indicators are the amount of the team's prize money for the year, the amount of prize money won by the opponent that the team beat, as well as the number of these rivals, and the results of personal meetings. It turns out that now everything is decided by the money. A team would have the chance to win a couple of Pinnacle Cups with prize fund of $1 million, if they still existed, and calmly get into the close qualifiers. Thus, Heroic took the first place in Europe, then we have G2, after them we got Outsiders, FaZe and Navi. It's a little strange, of course, to decide whether the team will play at the major or not, judging by the money they earned. That's how Valve sees things. Gaben's words are the law. At the IAM Katowice, the regulations have not been changed, but the organizers announced all the participants. Almost the entire HLTV stop, except for Cloud9, will get into the main stage right away. The NA org has been sent to play-in stage. This distribution was done using the ESL rating, that is, it was based on the amount of points the teams earned. So that means someone will get invites directly and someone will have to be selected. But the main thing is that Astralis was not invited to the tournament at all. They earned so few points this year that they just lost their slot. According to rumors, ESL retroactively recalculated the significance of some events, and because of this, Astralis failed to get in. Wow. Recently, it seemed like they were going to return to the top level with Device, and now they won't get to one of the most prestigious tournaments. And finally, the news from HLTV. They confirmed that their award ceremony will be held on January 14th. For the first time, it will be a whole show. The best player, team, highlight, and a bunch of other nominations will be announced live. It will be legendary. Well, that's all for now. Thank you for watching this video and subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss anything CSGO related for sure. See you soon.